crikey. A New Zealand possum has been released without charges.
Welcome back to Show Me Yours with Jackie and Johnny, everybody.
I'm Jackie Agnew.
And I'm Johnny DeVito. And I have to apologize because there's about 20 minutes of gold that we were just going through at the beginning of this episode that is not at the beginning of this episode because I didn't press record. That's, you know what I mean? It's the little things, Jackie. It's the little things, right, that forge you in flames. You know what I mean, right? That forge you into the professional that you're supposed to become, right? And what I'm doing is fucking up.
Well, we don't have like an audio person to help us out, so
we don't have anybody person.
We don't have anyone, so we've been having some troubles with audio. We're juggling a lot of bowling pins at once here. Yeah, we really are. They're a lot harder to juggle than balls.
Than you'd think, yeah.
But
I can juggle balls, Jackie. Can you juggle balls?
No.
I've seen you do it. Just kidding. Anyway, no, we run a pretty loose ship around here, right?
Yeah.
But I like to do a little check, and hey, lucky I checked, and now that we know, now we're gonna start this magic right from the beginning, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
Like and fucking subscribe.
Yes,
would you?
Please like and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, just click that little subscribe button. Takes 2 seconds. Leave a comment. Let us know you subscribed. We'll give you a shout out.
Yeah, we'll say, hey, man.
Like the video. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review.
I'm sorry. I have to check it every 5 seconds now. I'm paranoid.
Follow us on Instagram. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on TikTok. Share us on your Instagram stories and tag us so we can repost and we know that you're a real one. That's
right. Christmas is coming, Jackie, and we know that like sharing is caring, right? It's better to give than receive. You know?
Exactly.
Why not give the gift of us?
Yeah, we're the best gift you could give.
It's true.
Look at us.
Yeah, who's better than us? Come on. Figure it out. Jesus Christ, guys, get on the team.
Apologies, this episode is a day late.
Peter fucking Grant.
We're not gonna point any fingers, but no.
But what are you gonna do? You know, these things happen. You know, one day, you know, it's not gonna throw us out of the stratosphere. We do apologize to to anybody that was looking forward to us on their Monday morning that didn't have us there. We will be here on Tuesday,
which is like Monday 2.
It's basically Monday 2. Yeah, it's Monday 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the sequel.
It's a nice little Tuesday treat for you.
Yeah, right.
And if you are good with, if you want to be like our little sidekick, like our Jamie or our Nadav, then
oh my God, yeah, reach out.
Then reach out. We'd love to have you. We'd love to. We don't want our quality to be suffering, but we are aware that it has been because there's a lot of moving parts here.
A lot going on.
Yeah, we can't pay you anything.
We can offer our friendship, our undying allegiance, Jackie's firstborn. We can do those kind of things, right? But other than that, we're just looking for a young go-getter that wants to, join the team, right? That being said, should get a hold of us, and any way that you know how. We're very, very easy to reach. We are
super easy, super accessible.
Yeah, you could slide into DMs. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem at all. But Jackie, now that we got rid of the business, right? Let's get the business.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
We gave him the business. Now let's give him the party.
All right. 20 eyes in my head. We're gonna talk about punk rock Elvis today, Jackie.
Yeah.
A young Glenn Danzig, a crooner, if you will. The first person to make, I don't know, Elvis hardcore or something. Yeah. It's very silly. Jackie, this band spans everything. You know what I mean? The start of a pop culture phenomenon. You know what I mean? I think like more T-shirts sold than records of any other band, right? Which is kind of fucking crazy. But the amount that they put them out, I guess that's just the way that it is. But it also kind of like took shock rock and goth rock and heavy conceptual bands, you know what I mean? This kind of brought this to the forefront in like the mid 70s. and to the time that they released this record that we're talking about today, 1982, the Misfits, Walk Among Us. The Misfits were kind of already like a force that was kind of coming out. Everybody's like, who are these guys? The year before this, they put out a single called Bullet that is a drawing of John F. Kennedy's head right as he's being shot in it. It's fantastic, right? So, you know what I mean? The imagery was there. The attitude was there. And then kind of came like, you know, a little bit of art with it, which is fantastic. So, Jackie, there's nothing more that I could say. Well, there's a lot more that I can say. There's nothing more that I'm going to say now about this band but or this album, but I'm very excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I read the lyrics.
Oh,
I had some time. Yeah, and so before
Welcome
first,
to the Devil's Whorehouse.
We have breaking news for you. New Zealand Possum has been released without charge.
Crikey, mate.
After
I don't know.
Do they? I don't think they say crikey.
You don't say crikey? Fucking close enough, man. I suck at accents. Fucking terrible.
You know, my old my roommate Claire, who you met, and she is from New Zealand originally. You can't really hear an accent on her anymore.
I feel weird now because I didn't pick that up.
No, you can't really hear it anymore, except when she says certain words. One of them is New Zealand. She says it like that. The other one is zebra.
Ah.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a zebra and Deborah.
Yeah.
And those lines don't necessarily merge as many times as you'd like them to.
Yeah.
Or, that doesn't make any... Fine.
But, crikey. A New Zealand possum has been released without charges.
I just take a shit on the floor here and you just want to double down and kick it all around? Huh? All right.
After attacking a woman, holding her hostage in her home. So a woman...
All right. Bring it down.
A woman was held hostage by a possum in her home.
All the time.
So,
how many times? How many times have you heard this story?
I mean, it's a tale as old as time.
I think that's why we're going to cover it because, there's been so many just, possum hostage situations, right? And I think
Possum
it's
hostage.
Possum hostage, right? Like, it's time that we address
a good
this.
band name.
Now, Possum Hostage?
Yeah.
Sick band. For sure.
Possum hostage.
Going to see Possum Hostage tonight, man.
So good.
Fuck yeah.
So basically, either police believe that it is either an escaped pet or a possum that has been separated from its mother. And so, and that is why this possum was exhibiting what appeared to be aggressive behavior towards the owner of this homestead.
Okay.
When the police arrived at the scene, the possum ran up to one officer and crawled up his leg.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
And the possum has been released, from what I gathered, at the top of a large hill. And they said, don't worry about the possum anymore.
I mean, first of all, right, releasing a possum without charges, Jackie, that's your first mistake.
Yeah.
Right there,
Yeah.
right? Like, anytime you're in any kind of possum conflict, you want to throw the book at them, right? Just because, like, of
course, the charges should be brought.
They never come about, right? Like, nobody's ever, holding these possums accountable. It's possum privilege. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've seen possum privilege time and time
again.
Right? So when you have a dangerous beast, being that of a middle-aged woman, agoraphobic, I imagine, possibly like, hanging out inside of her house, right? Like she just wants to leave a little bit, but there's a possum outside, probably just, hollering to say what's up. Like, well, that's the thing about this whole story.
She probably saw a person. Never mind.
Jackie,
I don't want to say.
It's a fine line. It's a fine line that we're running here. Okay, stay on the right side of it. This woman saw a person of possum outside
and needed to go to say, what are you doing all my lawn?
Right? It's classic possum racism, right? And I mean, this has been going on for a long time, right? Ever since man and possum, have shared the same, lands, right? We've had to maintain this delicate balance. You know what I mean? With these creatures, right? Absolutely, right? So I'm tired of, as much as I am tired of seeing the possum privilege, right? You know what I mean? Nobody ever really throwing a book and a possum never really getting what it deserves. I'm still for justice.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't mean that, I'm going to jump to conclusions with every possum.
Right.
So especially in this situation, it just
possum.
sounds like this woman seems to be more at fault than the possum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
imagine
mixed feelings, even though right, but even though a gang of possums killed my father, so like I've been
a little bit biased, but
definitely we've been warring.
Can't
with,
hold it against. It's like
exactly,
when
right?
it's like a person who's attacked by sharks, but then does like shark advocates for sharks
absolutely.
Afterwards.
I mean, I'm out there working with possum communities. You know what I mean? I'm trying to bridge that gap, right? I'm doing what we can just to kind of end the violence.
Imagine a movie like The Fly, except it's
the
possum. Just Jeff Goldblum.
I mean, I'm super into it.
Yeah,
like The Fly, you know what I mean, right? Like, there's a lot more like interesting stuff there that you like. So, like, I mean, Jeff Goldblum just like burying underground.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
super
part
into
of like the horror, what makes The Fly so like viscerally horrifying is seeing all these aspects of a fly magnified.
Oh, 100%.
To that extent.
Yeah, definitely.
With a possum, it might just be a little silly.
It would just be awesome if like the whole movie is just Jeff Goldblum just kind of like barking at women to stay in their homes.
Yeah.
If that's what Jeff Goldblum is doing, is just like a hostage. What's that? Well, like I guess there's been a few of those stories or whatever, but one of the where somebody just like keeps like a woman like captive for like 15 years or whatever. And that's what like Jeff Goldblum is doing in like a possum.
In a possum situation,
yeah,
except they get the whole house to themselves. He's just like circling around the yard.
It would be cool if he had like you know what I mean, like a guard uniform, like he's swinging keys around and shit like that.
Yeah, just like a possum.
Breaks into dance, so like in the middle of the night when nobody sees him and stuff, like he just like catches like some Michael on the radio and he's like,
yeah.
oh, ta-ta.
I don't know if I can fully picture a possum in my head. Does it look like a ferret?
It looks like a really scary ferret, like a fat, like if you
like they're long,
they're
right?
long and they're fat. Yeah, so it'd be like a rat
like
on
a bulky,
steroids and
bulky
shit.
Ferret.
Yeah, it was ferret rat. They're terrifying.
A ferret.
Yeah, a ferret, Jackie. That's absolutely right. They're to razor sharp teeth. Fins.
Yeah, they're vicious.
Gills. You're gonna find you find all kinds of shit. Wings,
right?
A winged beast,
right?
You're gonna find a lot of a lot of stuff on other animals that you won't find on a possum.
Right, of course. Yeah. So none of those. Yeah. I think that this possum was doing the lady a favor.
Yeah, sounds
because
like
no one wants to break into a house where possum's on guard.
Well, what's this lady doing running around town so much anyway? I mean, shit.
Yeah,
why
do you
can't
even
she
need
hang
to
out at
leave
the
your
house? It's like,
it's
yo,
fucking
lady.
COVID times.
I
bitch.
imagine that she was either, you know what I mean, she was putting herself or another's life at risk, right? The possum was just kind of looking out for her, be like, lady, you can't go out.
Maybe the possum can smell COVID, and it's like, bitch, you're sick. You need to stay the fuck inside. And then when the officers came, it ran up its leg to be like, hey, watch out.
Yeah.
She's going to infect you.
Whoa,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Guys. That's totally. I thought I was going to go another direction. Like, this possum had tried to give this lady an intervention, like time and time again. He realized the only way that he's going to get her off drugs if he stays outside the house and actually forces her to stay inside until, you know what I mean, the withdrawal is until she can kind of kick the habit on her own, right? Like, if anything, the amount of this possum's own time, you know what I mean, right? Think about the time away from his family, time away from work, you know what I mean, lost wages, all that stuff, when he's just really looking out for this woman's well-being. I think, you know what I mean, like I said, a little bit biased, definitely when it comes to possums, but this one, this case in particular here, Jackie,
I'm not convinced that the possum did anything wrong.
No.
And then so the police, after apprehending the suspect, police delivered the possum up to a nearby lookout spot on Signal Hill and released it into the wild to prevent further citizen harassment. No harm came to the possum or the officer.
Just acting
so
like...
their solution is just to go to a fucking lookout on top of a hill and release it. It's like... Possums, no problem anymore.
Just pretending like
we solved the possum problem.
Just acting like that possum doesn't have like a sense of direction
Right.
or a bus pass. Like you think this guy's not going to get back to town. It's ridiculous.
Right? And clearly this
absurd.
possum had honed in on this lady like for all this time. It didn't move houses like it has. This lady's gonna be haunted by the possum. There's no way this possum isn't coming back.
Do you think that this lady goes to, let's say she goes to work Monday morning thinking that everything is going to be fine?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, obviously, like, you're going to suffer from a little PTSD after this thing, like always looking over your shoulder. I mean, for that possum, but like the day that possum just kind of like crests the hill and comes back, you know what I mean, marches back to take what's rightfully its,
right?
His, hers, I'm not sure. We're not going to gender.
We don't know the gender of the possum.
Yeah, and it's not up to us to assume, right? So I do just think that, we can all just thank our lucky stars that there's possums out there. You know what I mean? That are doing the dirty work. You know what I mean? Willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. Like, you know what I mean?
Possum patrol.
Exactly, right? Whether it's COVID or cocaine, this lady needed help. And that possum was there to give it to her, right?
Yeah,
If anything, this fucking thing needs a medal.
Right?
Like,
we'll give the possum of honor.
Time and time again. Time and time again, Jackie. We see the lowly possum
Possums being wrong.
Yeah, and just looked over. You know what I mean? It's a shame, but it's kind of it's the way of the world, right? And all that we can do is just shine a light on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And hope to keep moving everybody through the darkness. Towards the light, right? But that's that's about as religious as I'll get with it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. This is possum. What's it called? Possum discrimination.
It's classic possum.
Yeah.
Classic case possum discrimination.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And we could consult the literature, right? We could go after the law, but we know what they're doing is illegal.
Right. Exactly. This is unlawful possum control.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? If you just to go to like a lookout and just like dump a little guy who's like with a view or whatever, it's just like it just doesn't seem right. But I mean, that's New Zealand for you, I guess.
Yeah, I guess
Peter Grant tried to tell us, and I don't believe anything that he says, but maybe he was right on this.
But it's interesting how this diverges, because we did all long-time listeners will remember that we covered a story about an elderly couple being held hostage by some seagulls.
Yes, we did.
In that case, seagulls were the clear villain.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Totally different story, totally different circumstances.
Exactly. This is not so clear cut.
No, it's definitely not, right? Because, I mean, when it comes to possums, like I said, a lot of history there. You know what I mean? But nothing like the birds, Jackie. Right? The birds have been, just I've sworn oath. I swore an oath, many years ago. Years ago to rid this world of these wretched beasts. But the possum is on my side in that sense. So I say like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, Jackie.
Yeah, right.
So that's why me and the possums are getting down. That's why I'm doing so much community outreach work, right? Because when it comes to a bird can go fuck itself 100 times out of 10. And for a bird to kind of hold somebody captive, obviously, there's just tyrannical, villainous, thoughts.
There's nothing but hate in their hearts,
right? Whereas a possum, I'm assuming is just trying to help this lady out.
Yeah, I wonder when a adolescent lady possum reaches puberty, they call it possum blossom.
Sure they do. I mean, every time you see a possum blossom, Jackie,
the possum's blossoming.
Oh, it's the milkshake that brings the boys to the yard. It's
that's a possum in blossom.
It when you pick up, you can pick up that scent anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, the possums are blossoming.
They're right. That blossom is ripe.
That's a blossomed possum.
Absolutely.
They come out and their eyelashes are really long.
Just shaking that ass. Yeah. I see you, baby. I wonder, like, the thing about a possum is the grossest to me is the tail.
Right.
Like a giant rat's tail. It's kind of disgusting.
Are they furry? Are the tails furry, or is it like a rat?
Yeah, okay. It's like a rat tail. But that being said, when a possum is blossoming, could that be used as another, kind of apparatus or device in the lovemaking thing? I'm open to the idea, right? Like a tail on its own, like just in the wild, not really into it, but a tail greased up doing fun stuff to your butt,
right,
might be a different
that
story.
Could be,
I'm not saying that's for me.
Appendage.
Yeah, right. Could totally be.
I wonder what a possum's penis looks like.
Jackie, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. It looks like dinner. Right? Every time. 100% of the time. You see that, you're like, put that in my mouth.
Right.
It's, yeah, a possum may not be the prettiest animal to look at in the animal kingdom, but bar none, prettiest cock.
Right. It's slanging.
Yeah, it's like the first rule in the book.
Here. Yeah.
Right? You know the book.
Right.
You've read the book. Of course, you read the book.
Yeah. It's a possum. It's got a whole hefty member on
Old
them.
possum hogs.
Old possum hog.
Possum hogs just ready to bruise a blossom.
Ready to penetrate, ready to blues a blossom.
bruise a blossom.
Ready to blues a blossom.
Holy fuck. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was
on that note. Speaking of possum penises,
Jackie, the 1982 classic put out on Ruby Records. The Misfits Walk Among Us. I don't know how many possums they dealt with, but I imagine it was probably a bunch, right? Because as much as we talk about like the shock and the awe and the and the mystique around this band, but the funniest thing to me about this band is they're just 4 Italian guys from New Jersey. Glenn Danzig, Jerry Doyle, Wolfgang von Frankenstein, and they've had a string of drummers. I can't remember who's actually credited with the drums on this one. A guy named Grego or something fucking weird like that. Anyway, regardless, every time that I listen to this band, in the back of my head, it's like, "Hey, Jimmy, give me your fucking skull, huh?" So it's kind of fucking stupid. It's terrible.
Sure.
Terrible impression of my people, but a great personification of what I hope this band actually does on their days off, right? I think that there's some there's stories.
Eating subs.
Just eating, hanging out. Or a hero sandwich, right? Do they call spaghetti sauce or Sunday gravy? Doesn't matter to me.
A hero is a sub, is it not?
A hero is a sub. A grinder is a sub. There's a bunch of different names for basically the same thing.
Right.
Banh mi, I would even put in a sub category.
Okay, but that's like an ethnic sub.
It is.
Yeah.
It is an ethnic sub.
An oriental sub.
And okay, all right. Call it what you will, Jackie. It's delicious. Okay. We don't need to talk about the French colonization of Vietnam and why it's on a baguette, but you know what I mean. A lot of fascinating stuff there with the.
I'm not bashing banh mi's.
I'm just saying you were just pretty quick to mention where it's from.
But I was saying because in subs, the weird thing about sub sandwiches is that in North America alone, the sub has many different names that literally.
Oh yeah, people call them like a hoagie
thing.
Can be a sub as well.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like it's a common. Like all over the world, there's different versions of the same food.
Sure.
Called all different things. But sub is kind of a more rare example of like the same thing that's called different things in different areas just within like North America.
Yes. Yeah, so like I don't know where the submarine sandwich by definition comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or which came first, like the hoagie or the grinder or I think like a meatball grinder to me is like a it's
Where
all the same
call
fucking
it a
thing.
grinder?
I have no idea, right? Because well, they can't call it that anymore because the connotation with gay sex.
Exactly.
But,
yeah.
I mean, I still I don't know. Like, if you were to tell me, "Hey, Johnny, you want to come to meatball grind tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's grind some meatballs."
Grinder, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the gayest sounding sandwich.
Yeah.
But also the most fun. You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah.
Right? Like you can't. He wants a turkey club. Or turkey Swiss, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
right? Does that sound like a party to you?
No, well, sub is inherently more of a party because it's a long sandwich, right?
Well, I mean, but Jackie, like that's the same thing that we're talking about. A grinder and a hero is all the same thing, right?
Yeah, no,
like,
I was saying like a club.
Like
I'm saying compared to a club.
Oh, sorry, club sandwich. Yeah, that was dumb. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm talking out of my ass with sandwiches here.
You gotta bring clubs into this.
That's ridiculous. I don't know. I'm just trying to what do you say about the best 25-minute record of all time, Jackie? There's only 13 songs, so there's 25 minutes front to back. Like, what the fuck can I say that the world doesn't know about the Misfits? Like, honestly, right? Like, how do you span 40 years and stay relevant off of one fucking album? Right? Many different iterations of the band.
Yeah.
A lot of different stuff happening there. After the Misfits Walk Among Us, I think 1985, they disband. Glenn Danzig goes on to form Samhain and Danzig with a little bit of success there. He does okay. Jerry only the rest of the band. The Misfits continue touring as the Misfits with different singers and whatnot, right?
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Bands that continue to make music under the same name, even though it's almost a completely different lineup.
It's when it's done right. It's done right. Like it's so. I'm
Like,
not,
if
I'm
it's
not
just one person switched out, that's one thing. Lots of bands do that. But if it's like,
if it's
like
a guitar
many
player or something
people,
like that, right? A lot of times, like it depends, right? With a guitar, like lightning flask guitar in like a punk band, you know, you can make some, you know, some adjustments there without really like affecting the whole thing of the band. But let's take like Pennywise, for example. Pennywise, I'm a big fan of. Did the same thing that the Misfits did for like one album, in the sense that their lead singer had enough and they walked away, right?
Yeah.
Now, Pennywise is that band. Like Pennywise is the music and Jim's vocals together. Like that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
So when they put out an album, I think in 2010, called All or Nothing, they had a different singer, this guy from this band called Ignite. Now the album is fine. Like you put it on and you're like, oh, this is clearly Pennywise playing this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you can tell what like the band style is and the tone and everything like that. You can tell it's definitely a Pennywise record. And he's singing to kind of match up, you know, to what the band sound is.
Yeah, matching the
right.
tone
Where
and stuff.
you have like where the Misfits did something like when they got a new singer, Michael Graves, he came in and in 1995. So you're going from 1982, this record comes out. The next, you know, big Misfits record doesn't come out until 1995 with Famous Monsters. So they kept the horror classic kind of mystique. They kept the guitars and the sound kind of, you know, I would say like all the riffs and everything basically still the same, but it just sounds a little bit cleaner. You know what I mean? From 1995 to 1982, the recording is just
like the production value.
It's a little more polished or whatever, and a little bit more, I'd say like poppier, mainstream accessible, more so than this record is. It's just a little bit, you know, just darker and like, I don't know, the recording of it, everything just like it doesn't feel like this is a less accessible record, I think, than their later stuff.
Okay.
Which was kind of like a breath that kind of continued the Misfits fandom kind of into like kept it strong and even stronger, I think, and then into the 2000s and kind of made it what it is today. Right? Like that second resurgence or whatever, kind of breathing enough life into that band that you know, from 82 to, you know, 2000 or whatever, when I start to discover this band, you know, it's like I've worn one of these goddamn shirts for like, you know, the entire span of my life, right? But with in the kind of the worst possible way, right? Because like, you know, there's so many iterations of this band, and we can talk about like which Misfits fan are you of? You know, is it you know, Michael Graves or Glenn Danzig? And for me, there's no question there. It's definitely Glenn Danzig. But there was a time when I was a kid, and it was like the poppier, more accessible stuff or whatever. The reason that I got into the Misfits or whatever was, you know, kind of through the later stuff. Regardless, when I don't know what it was, because the symbol is so iconic, and this album is so fantastic that in 2017, after years and years of like legal battles, whether like who has the rights to the name, who has the rights to all the merchandise money and stuff that's all going there, they battled in court for years and did all this dumb shit, and they're actually like not like, I don't know, very cool guys. I don't think, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the band is bigger than, you know, the sum of its parts or whatever, right? But for a relatively unknown band to kind of come out and, you know, be like a huge inspiration to what would become, you know, the counterculture of the next generation, where you have like Alice Cooper, like the New York Dolls, kind of like, you know, doing similar stuff or whatever, but with them going specifically into like this horror direction, opened the doors for like Marilyn Manson, you know what I mean, and even like death rock stuff like AFI. Now, musically, I think that this band suffers because it stays in that pocket, where a band like AFI, whether for, you know, for better or worse, the fans can decide about that. Every few records or whatever, they're slowly evolving. You know what I mean? And almost kind of like leaving their core fan group behind in that way, but still getting like more successful as a band. Where the Misfits have never done that, right? Like, well, this is our thing, this is our image, this is kind of what we talk about. And then that's going to continue, which is cool for like a legacy band to you know, stay with their feet firm in the ground. But, you know, we were talking about Pennywise a minute ago. They haven't put out like an album that really has a staying power of their early stuff. Misfits,
Right.
absolutely, right? If you're going to listen to the Misfits, listen to this record. I would say like you can avoid like the anything that came out after Project 1950, which would be like anything post, like 2001, which is crazy because we're sitting here in 2022 talking about like the legacy of this band, right? But with a band that kind of like refuses to, to update or do new things. Musically, I think it's gonna fall a little bit stale,
Right.
which is fine, right? But because they know their core audience wants to hear what they want to hear, and then when they toured, like they sold out Madison Square Garden in 2018, right? Like after all of that shit, which is fascinating, right? What is this band? This is a Crimson Ghost of Skull. It's like very simple. The longest song on this record is 3 minutes long. You know what I mean? But there's like the mystique around it, right? Something kind of made it so much more than it is, which is 25 minutes of punk rock songs.
Right.
Right? Which is fascinating to me. I don't understand. Do you think do you think that there's something to be said about that where like the people's fandom and like pop culture will just take something further than the like the image becomes bigger than the core thing, in this case a record, or in some cases like a movie, you know what I mean, right? Like the Psycho scene is more popular than the film itself, right?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it when Sean was here. Like, we see that all the time with like fucking Metallica shirts, H&M, Forever 21 sell those shirts. You see it with like AC/DC, like all of those kind of bands for whatever reason. I mean, they have cool looking logos, so people just print it on t-shirts, and it kind of just perpetuates in that way with people just kind of branding their logos more so, and they like that their kind of vibe and like the look more than they ever listen to the music and stuff. And I think I think that's like a thing for any band. That's kind of like a mark of success for a band to get to kind of that level. And it sucks if you're, I don't know if it's like, if it really matters.
Yeah,
like,
it used to suck. Now I don't give a shit. If I see somebody with a Misfits t-shirt, you could usually tell by like what else they're wearing if you're like actually into the thing. I don't give a shit if you listen to them or not.
Yeah, like I don't care. And
the last thing
like
I want to do is talk about the Misfits on the street.
Yeah, you see it with like fucking like Nirvana, I think especially. Like you see fucking people, because everyone knows Smells Like Teen Spirit, so everyone fucking wears Nirvana stuff, to the point like I have like Nirvana shirts that I won't wear because I don't want to seem like that person. And so there is definitely that element to like any band that's super successful, that has like cool looking shit, that has like a solid logo, which is like kind of, to be a successful band, like that is important. Like to have like brand and merch is really important.
Iconic, right?
And
like
so
that fucking Crimson Ghost is
exactly. And so it is kind of the mark of success when your image and like maybe one song or whatever kind of overpasses the actual like people who are actually into the band. But I don't know if it really matters. I mean, I don't really like care that much about like people that.
Well, it's it's interesting because like that's also like available, right? Right now, everything is just like a commodity or whatever. But like back when everything wasn't so accessible, right? Like when people were just trying to, look out for this band. This band wasn't the biggest thing until like I think it was the resurgence like later in the 90s, where a lot of people really like went back. You know what I mean, and really started to kind of pay attention and blow it up. And the band actually gives credit to Metallica for making them popular. Cliff Burton, their first bass player, before he passed away, would always be wearing Misfits t-shirts and their things or whatever, right? And so, I mean, if you're the biggest rock and roll band in the world and stuff, and you're just kind of like doing a shout out to, something that inspired you or whatever, so like it's interesting to, like the same thing that, that sparked them and got their, I bet like the only, I don't even know why anybody's even talking about this, because I bet the band fucking loves it. Like put that thing on everything, and they're the they market their shit like Kiss, for fuck's sakes. Like you can have a fucking Misfits skull on goddamn anything, right?
Yeah, and exactly. When you get to that, and it's making you tons of money, it's like fuck it. But at the same time, there is like, because it's nice when because I have a bunch of band t-shirts, but I would only ever buy a band t-shirt for a band that I really love.
Yeah.
And I'm like excited to wear it because I'm like, oh, like I like wearing this shirt because it makes me happy because I like this band or whatever. And so there is the element of like people who just wear it because it looks nice, and it's kind of like a bit of a bummer because it is cool to see like people in other bands wearing other bands' t-shirts.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
like a mark of like when a new band kind of comes on the scene or whatever, you can see like who they're. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
you guys listen to the right people. It's
exactly.
so fucking stupid, but it's like it's a weird thing, right? It's a weird thing that you could do to kind of see like oh, this person's a buddy.
Yeah, but I think that like definitely I would be shocked if like the bands give a shit at all because they're making money either way.
Yeah.
If we started selling merch and it looked cool and people wore it who didn't listen to the podcast, I wouldn't give a fuck.
No, yeah, still, buy the shirt.
Yeah.
Buy two.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it is kind of like a weird thing. I think like,
well, it's
when
just
you're
strange,
younger.
right? Like when the logo becomes bigger than the band itself.
Yeah.
Almost. You know what I mean?
I think when you're younger, it kind of bothers you more, and you kind of get that like, name your 3 favorite albums or whatever.
Yeah. This is my thing. You're not allowed in my thing.
But now it's like fucking whatever. Like that's fashion nowadays. People band shirts are in, so people are gonna wear it. I don't have the energy to give a fuck.
No. Yeah, like I don't give a shit. Like if that, I mean, if anything, it's just it's even. It could even be for the better, right? Because if that person that isn't is still exposing that image into other people's head, it might be somebody else's like gateway into like into like weird alternative or punk rock music, right? Which is fine.
That being said, I can't imagine wearing a band t-shirt of a band that I don't listen to.
No.
Like that would be, I can't imagine spending money on something.
It's crazy for fashion or anything like that. I don't know. I almost envy a little bit of that. I wish I had a little bit of like not give a shit. Right? I say that I don't give a shit, but god damn it, you won't find me dead in that band's t-shirt or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, if you're like fucking bumping like Justin Bieber all the time, then you're walking down the street in a Slayer t-shirt and ripped jeans.
I mean, that's just where we're at. I mean, when Travis Barker's banging fucking a Jenner, and you know what I mean, right? Like
Kardashian.
Pop punk.
She's not a Jenner. She's a Kardashian.
It's interesting. Like counterculture is.
Did you see that for fucking Halloween? They went as whatchamacallit? Sid and Nancy.
Oh,
yeah, it was like, this is horrific.
You guys just fingers crossed.
Yeah. And it was like on Kourtney Kardashian's Instagram. She was like posing like all glamorous, like Sid and Nancy. And I was like, do you have any idea
how that story ended? First of all, somebody give Gary Oldman some credit for playing that fucking role because he was great in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what another fucking...
What a weird thing to go as, like with your significant other.
It's also funny for like one of the best musicians in punk rock to go and like portray like the worst musician in punk rock.
Right? It's like, what are you doing, bud?
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. They're the strangest couple. Though maybe not as strange. No, actually, I think I dislike them. Definitely. I don't stan Kourtney and Travis. I don't think that wedding's gonna happen. Hot take. But I do stand for Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian.
What the fuck is happening here, guys? I don't know where we went from that. Travis Barker wore a Misfits t-shirt, one of those stupid fucking pictures. I can't believe I brought it up.
I just wanted to get that out there.
No, that's perfect. People wanted to know. People tuned into this to find out, you know, like the hot stuff on what's going on with old Petey and Kim. Mm-hmm. But do we think
the Kardashians have 2 types?
Let her rip.
Black men and much younger white men.
Well, I guess I don't have a shot. God damn it. Well, Travis Barker's got to be like 50.
I mean, like, yeah, he's kind of like an exception, but when
they go
for white dudes, it's always like someone you would never expect. You know, it's always like someone younger or someone from a different walk of life. Like it's always
Interesting.
kind of, yeah.
Interesting. I think it's all marketing and demographics. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which is fascinating.
Yeah.
Right? They're just looking at the stocks and being like, oh.
Yeah. Fucking.
Why doesn't Asian dudes get any shine with the Kardashians? Right?
That's a good question. I don't think any of them
brown
have
dudes
ever,
and shit like that.
No, it's literally all
on, man.
like
No
90% black dudes and then 10% younger.
I'm
white
just saying,
dudes.
like, expand your horizons, right? You know what I
Totally.
mean? There's a lot of dick out there to get sucked.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm saying, I mean, I don't discriminate. Possums don't discriminate. Kardashians discriminate. And that's kind of that's basically just the sum up this.
Yeah.
This fucking slap together episode. Of this goddamn show.
Well, I have my takeaway from this album.
Yeah, what's going on?
Was that I like any punk song with woes in it.
Then Jackie, you came to the right place.
Yeah.
A lot of good woes on here.
There was like 3 songs with woes.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked those ones the best. But no, I liked it, especially because I listened to it a couple times when I was doing other stuff, and I was like, okay, I have some time. I should probably actually read the lyrics because I have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I liked it. I don't think I necessarily agree with this worldview. It's so dark. But like there's good songs. There's some catchy songs on it, and there's some so many cool horror and sci-fi references that I was into.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and some actually some good melodic tunes.
A lot of that's what the thing that the imagery kind of does the band a disservice, because I think a lot of people will look at this stuff and go like, oh, this band might not be for me. It's like, it looks so fucking metal, but Glenn Danzig is fucking like punk rock Elvis. Like he really sounds like that, kind of thing. So other than just really lightning fast guitars and drums, other than that, very accessible stuff, very catchy tunes, very very melodic punk. Yeah, kind of started the there wouldn't be melodic hardcore if it wasn't for the Misfits.
Yeah, it's very
I said it here.
like a very niche genre.
Yeah, it was the first one, right? Like it kind of it now not so much. Like it definitely you know what I mean, in the 30 years or whatever since this has been out, 35 almost 40 years this has been out, then that's definitely going. But at the time, this was this is the quintessential first horror punk.
Yeah. And I thought the last song was just a fun closer. Brain Eaters.
Oh yeah, Brain Eaters is fantastic. I like that. They the progression of this record, if you especially just listen to it on vinyl, is so goddamn great. Like the A side ends with "Mommy, Can I Go Out and Kill Tonight," which is a live track they recorded in New York back in the day or whatever. It's just so much fucking fun. And then even the timing of each track, I've looked at it, so it starts with a minute, you know what I mean, a minute 25, it goes into a 2-minute song, then a 3-minute song, you know what I mean, it just kind of builds up so nicely or whatever, crescendos, then comes down. You know, it's you could look at Spin magazine or Rolling Stone or Pitchfork and stuff, and all of them say the same thing, you know what I mean, 4 to 5 stars or whatever, one of the best albums of the genre, one of the best I don't know, time capsules for this era of punk, where there was so much kind of going on, where within the same shows you could have kind of the Ramones doing a more rock and roll thing, and the Bad Brains doing something that was you know what I mean, a little bit more politically charged, more socially driven, and then going to the Misfits, right, doing something that's completely shock and horror or whatever, right, which was all of this coming out very close to each other, and in a time where kids were being inspired to hear that music and start a band very quickly after, you know what I mean. Some of these kids that were in the crowd of this, these shows or whatever, turned around, and Henry Rollins was in Black Flag very shortly after. Ian MacKaye just created Mind the Threat, went on to do Fugazi and stuff like that very shortly after seeing this, right? It just sparked such a storm that if you look at say the Rolling Stones 40 best punk albums of all time or whatever, right? A lot of them kind of come out within this, you know what I mean, interesting window of time, right? That is just it's a cool time capsule to look back on now, right? Because you can see now they're I think you don't see a whole lot of the the influence around like musically and stuff, but you can even look at like the rappers today. Look more like Misfits fans or whatever from the 2000s and stuff, right? It's kind of like the style is kind of bled out and gone to basically like all facets of, I'd say, like the pop culture, you know, sphere, and managed to like influence, like send that influence out like in a really wide net, and still kind of like maintain their core group of who they are, which is for better or worse. You know, it's pretty cool. Fuck Michael Graves, their second singer's an asshole. Glenn Danzig's probably a piece of shit too. But it captured the imagination of a young boy named Jonny.
Right. Have you ever eaten animal brains of any sort?
Never have, but I've been open to.
Yeah, I feel like that's a delicacy.
Sure.
Yeah, like what, like pig's brain, like what, like certain countries serve.
Sure. Yeah.
Brains. Yeah.
I think Scottish people do like the haggis.
Oh, haggis. I don't think that's brains. I think that's all.
What the fuck are you throwing the brains away for? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think like it would be like gnarly. I don't think like I would like take a little like bite of it. Like say you had like a little possum brain.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I wonder if they serve
an avocado pit or something like that. Like I wouldn't take a bite of that, but if it was served and like are prepared and
I was gonna say, how would it be prepared?
I don't know if it was in sauce with like a, I don't know,
like a little,
No, yeah, it would have to be like it would have to be like stewed and
like how would you even
in a soup or like crispy fried or like in a bowl.
God.
You know what I mean, right? Like
yeah.
You could definitely make anything like appetizing like that, but I mean, I just like to but I just like to crack a cranium and go raw. Like if I'm eating brains. Yeah.
I feel like they do that. What? I feel like
that's a thing. Like
like
they
monkey
eat monkey brains live.
Yeah. Oh,
it's pretty fucked up.
That's horrific.
Yeah,
we're so close to monkeys.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
Yeah,
I'm not into that
just
at all.
eating it right out of the skull. That's fucking gnarly.
Yes.
Who like to be able to do that without feeling like sick to your stomach, like just the image of it.
Imagine the world that like the life that you'd have to grow up in to not be creeped out by that.
Right?
Like that would
like
be that's a different
right
type of
out
person.
Of a fucking
it's fucking fascinating.
Skull. Yeah, like that's fucking gnarly.
Yeah, like I mean, you suck like semen out of a human penis. Like some people think that's gross.
I mean,
you're sucking brains out that skull, Jackie.
Yeah, no, that's infinitely more disgusting.
Who knows? I'm not one to say. I'm honestly, I don't know. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by where it comes from. Fascinated by the history. Fascinated where it's going to go from here.
Yeah, because I feel like they. Never mind. I was gonna go into bull testicles and stuff.
No. Yeah, we've covered that. We have covered that with our mouths.
Yeah, I don't know how eating brains. That just seems like you're asking for trouble. There's no way that we're meant to ingest brains. Like that can't be good for you. You know.
I think like muscle fiber and tissue or whatever is the same.
But what kind of like that's not like a meat though. That's an organ.
Yeah, but like hearts are good for you. Livers are really good for you. They say that.
There's no way livers are good for you.
That is, they're fantastic for you. That's people. Have been doing it for.
That feels like what they say just because they're cheap. They just say it's good for you.
No, if they were so cheap, then they would be on the shelves everywhere, right? Like they're.
Is it not? I'm pretty sure you can buy liver anywhere.
You could buy liver anywhere, yes. But I'm saying that you know what I mean. It's definitely like a delicacy to some, but it's like chock full of nutrients and fucking all kinds of.
I feel like that's just what they say to move livers.
I'm going to have to do the research and come back on this, but no, I've had chicken livers and stuff like that.
Livers are like a staple of like low-income households.
Yes, Jackie. Yeah, but
so that's
you're
what
putting a bad name on it, though.
No, I'm just saying. I think that's what they're saying to move livers.
They don't need to move livers, Jackie. That shit they're giving it away. I'm saying that it can be prepared and it can be it can be very good. I think it's like when people go hunting, it's like the first thing that they eat.
But I didn't say it wasn't good. I'm just saying I don't know if I agree it's good for you.
Oh. Well, who gives a shit? I don't know. We don't smoke cigarettes and drink. I don't know if anything's
I'm
good
talking about the nutritional value of liver.
I believe it is. Like, I'm not going to look at my phone right now or whatever. That's not good radio. But we'll come back next episode. And we'll
aren't livers chock full of toxins?
No, they process toxins or whatever, right? Yeah, but no. So when it's done, it's all good. I guess.
But
I don't fucking know.
Yeah. I'm very curious about the nutritional content of livers because Yeah, there's nothing, because it's not like you're eating like animal lungs or kidneys.
Liver is one of the most nutritionally dense foods on the planet. It contains significant amounts of folate, iron, vitamin B, vitamin A, and copper. Eating a single serving of liver can help you meet your daily recommended amounts of all these vitamins and minerals and reducing your risk of nutrition.
I'm going to have
deficiency.
to run the lab test myself on that one.
Fair
Cite your sources.
Google? All right, I'll cite my sources. This is from the Liver Propaganda Department. From WebMD.
My point stands.
I thought they were pretty good. I think WebMD is fine. Well, Jackie, this has been wonderful. We got a show.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I guess you won't. Yeah.
If you see this tomorrow and come to the House of Comedy on Wednesday to see us at Comedy Brawl, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, come to House of Comedy on Wednesday. We're on the Comedy Brawl. Yeah, the day this comes out, we'll also be at House of Comedy for the in the attic for their Pro-Am show.
Yeah.
If you want to come check that out. Yeah.
Come party.
Come party. Come to this isn't for us, but come to Randy's wrestling match.
Oh my
this
god.
Saturday.
Yeah. NEW Wrestling at Studio.
If it's not already sold out.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be so much
Give
fun.
us a plot.
Fuck yeah.